This is part one of a series where we're going to look at probably one of the most important tools for a graphic designer, and that's the pen tool. The pen tool is different than any other tools probably that we look at. It is key to creating what are known as vector graphics, graphics that are made with lines and fills of color and outlines of color that can be scaled. They don't lose quality when they're saved over and over again. They don't lose quality when they are stretched out or blown up. They are infinitely scalable, and they're used to create logos. They're used to create artwork that goes on, sides of buildings and water towers and T-shirts and embroidery. It's a very versatile tool. It's also one that takes longer to learn than a lot of skills in this class. So we're going to start slow today with a graphic that I'd like you to download at bit.ly/pentool-part1. It looks sort of like pentool-partone, which isn't a word, but pentool-part1. Go download the file and we'll get started. All right, start by going to File, New, and choosing Document. Or if you have the splash screen here, Create New Document. And where it says Orientation, let's set our orientation to Landscape. Everything else in the New Document dialog box you can leave alone. There we go, click OK. Your blank document, and you're going to place the file that you just downloaded. So you're going to go to File, Place. If you like shortcuts, Control-D is a good one to learn. We're going to use Place all the time in here. So File, Place, and then navigate to where you downloaded your file. For me, it's on my desktop along with about 75,000 other things. Pen tool practice, there it is right there. And then you can put it on your page one of two ways. You can just click and it'll drop onto your page. But if you do that, it's going to be kind of huge. So instead, what I would do is click and drag a box where you want your graphic to go. Click and drag. And you can make it pretty much fill your page just like that. Now, when you do that, it's a little jaggedy, especially if you zoom in, you see how it looks. You can help that a little bit by changing the display performance. You right-click on your image, and when you right-click, you get a whole bunch of choices. And come down here to Display Performance and choose High Quality Display. You may be thinking, why wasn't it high quality to begin with? Who wants to look at a jagged image? But InDesign does this thing where it doesn't show you all of the pixels when you're working. It shows you kind of a low resolution preview of your image so that it can load faster. And it doesn't have to load every single image every time you, zoom in or out or scroll right or left or whatever. But in this case, it'd be nice for us to be able to see the lines kind of clearly, especially when we zoom in. And that's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to zoom in on this first shape and then go over to your toolbox and choose the pen tool. Shortcut for the pen tool is the letter P. You see that underneath the pen tool, there's three other options: add, delete, convert. But for today, all you're going to need is the regular old pen tool. Before you start to draw, go over here to your swatches panel. And swatches, you've got two choices. You've got fill and stroke. And for this assignment, let's leave fill set to none, and then go to stroke, click on the stroke box, and choose a color. It really doesn't matter. Since what we're tracing is kind of black with a red outline, Maybe pick something different than that. Maybe do like a green. It doesn't really matter. You can do black, you can do red, whatever you like. And then fill, set that to none. I'll show you why here in a minute. Okay, so the pen tool has two basic points that you can create. There's really three, but mostly when you're tracing, you're creating two different kinds of points. A corner point, which these are corner points. Anytime you're trying to draw something where you need an angle, you just do a single click. So let's start with there. You take your pen tool, and I see your pen tool has got a little X next to it. That X is a symbol to tell you that you're about to start a new shape. So this little tracing thing, which by the way was created by a website called the Design Dojo. Thanks, Design Dojo. This is a really helpful little tool we're using. So you go to the first point and you just do a single click, one click. Be careful not to accidentally drag your mouse when you're clicking, just a single click. You can see I actually missed a little bit. If you're trying to get it right on the red dot, it doesn't matter. Get in the neighborhood, you'll be fine. And then you do not drag. You just do a single click. You move your mouse over to here, okay? No dragging. Just click, and then you come over here and you do another click. Now, I did something. Look at this. I don't know what I did. My stroke is set to black instead of the green that I chose. I'm going to switch it back to green. Now, if you draw it and you don't see a color, your stroke is probably set to 0. You can change that by going over here to the stroke panel and changing your weight to 1. You also can change the weight up here, just like you can change the color of the stroke up here as well. Okay, so we did a single click, we did a single click. We're going to keep doing single clicks. We're going to go up here, click. We're going to come down here, click. We're going to come down here, click. Up to this one, click. Over to this one, click. And then here's an important part. If you had been filling as you went, let's say I was going to fill with yellow. It looks like I'm done. Everything is all set. Everything's filled. I got my arrow shape, but I am not done. If I were to say I'm done and then come over to my next shape and say, okay, let's start here. Look what happens. It continues drawing. I didn't finish. So I'm going to do some stepping backward here. I'm going to do Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. I'm going to go back. The last point that I made was right here. To finish my shape, I have to go back to my very first point. And I'm going to take my pen tool and go back to my very first point. And you see the little O, little circle that pops up? That little circle means that I finished my shape. I'm going to click one time to finish my shape. Now I'm done. My pen tool has a little X next to it again, which means I'm starting a new shape. Okay, so that's pretty easy. If you want to fill it with a color, you can come over here and fill it with a color. Now that you've drawn your shape, go for it. Now let's move over to this little skyline looking shape. I moved over by holding the control key on my keyboard, and I use my scroll wheel up or down. If I scroll wheel down, I scroll to the right. If I scroll wheel up, I scroll to the left. That's holding control, scroll wheel. See down here, it says corner anchors shift. That means that all of these lines were made holding down the shift key. If you hold down shift while you draw, while you click points with the pen tool, it makes 180 degree and 90 degree and 45 degree lines and angles. So if I start down here and do a single click, just like last time, click, hold shift and go up here, click, it makes a straight line. I'm going to come over here to my stroke, set it to green. I keep holding shift and I go click, click, click. Now the nice thing about this is that I want straight lines. If I weren't holding shift, there's a good chance that I would be, let me let up on shift. I might end up going a little bit too high or too low. If I hold shift, straight lines. Now here, this is a 45 degree angle. So if I hold shift and go here, it'll go boom, If I wanted to go, like, say, out to here, and I'm holding shift, look what happens. Nope. It says, you want a straight line. Or if I'm close to 45, it'll say, nope, you want a 45-degree angle. So keep holding shift, click, click, single clicks all the way around. Come down to here, single click. Now the only part that might not be a straight line is this very last point. Matter of fact, I'm going to undo. And I'm going to do my click like this. You don't need to do that. I just want to show you what to do if you don't have a straight line. And then even though I'm holding shift, if I come back to where I started, actually, to finish it off, you got to let up on shift. And then you come up to your very last point. The little O pops up if you let up on shift, and then you click to finish your shape. Maybe I'll go to my fill. Let's go to fill up here this time. Fill with red. Oh, it's Christmas. But that last point is not a straight line. I may have to fix that. So to alter the points that you draw, use this arrow over here in your toolbox called the direct selection tool. This white arrow, the direct selection tool, will let you click on individual points. When you click on an individual point, it turns blue. You see all the other points are white. And if I click on this point right here, the one that's a little off, now it's highlighted in blue. Boy, that's hard to see on that green, but it is. I can either grab it and drag it around so I get it so it's kind of lined up, nice and straight. Or I can click on it and I can use my arrow keys on the keyboard, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to use arrow key up, up, up until I got that straight line. Okay, that's holding down shift. This one here, we're making kind of looking like a Star Trek looking symbol. These are all just going to be the single click. One click here, one click here, one click here. Now, if you had a fill at this point, you wouldn't be able to see your guides anymore. You wouldn't be able to see what you're tracing. So that's why we have our fill set to none as we draw. Come up here, click, come back to where we started, the little O pops up, and click. Then you can change your fill to whatever color seems nice. All right, let's go over to this one right here. Little egg shape, little alien head looking thing. So with this shape, we have what are called curve points. We're out of angles. This shape doesn't have any straight lines to it. If I did what I did on the other shapes and I just did a single click, I would end up with kind of a weird kite shape. It's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for kind of this oval shape, which is made up of 4 curve points. We'll start at the top, and instead of doing a single click, you do a click and drag, and that's one motion. You don't let up on your mouse. You click right here in this middle point, and you drag out to these end points. It's going to go like this. Click, drag, one motion, and then you let up on your mouse. And just the greens, you can see the line a little bit better. Now the next point is down here. And again, you're going to do a single click and drag. Click on the line here and drag straight down. One motion, click and drag. And the further you drag, you see that, the more of a curve you're going to get. Now, this straight line that you're seeing, that's not visible. That's just a guide. That just shows you where your curves are going. Okay, it's a direction. I'm going to drag straight down, right to the end of this little guide here, and then let up on my mouse. If you hold shift when you drag straight, it'll make sure that you go in a straight line, you don't curve it. So now we got this nice curve. We're going to go down to the bottom and add another curve point. Now let me show you what not to do. Here's something that people do. I'm not sure why, but a lot of times after they draw this point, they go right here, this point right here, and they grab it and then they drag it down like this. I'm not sure why people do that, but a lot of people do. So I'm just telling you, don't do that. Now down here. Come down here for your next click and drag. We're going to click and drag straight left, just like that. It drops right in there like that. Real nice. We're going to come up here. Now this one, we're going to click and drag up. A lot of people, when they get here, they drag down. If you drag down, you can see what happens. It goes whoop, like that. We want to click and drag straight up. And you're always dragging in the direction you're moving around your shape. So we went down because we were going down. We went left because we were going left. Now we're going up. And then back to where you started. You see the little O pop up next to the pen tool. So you know you're finishing your shape. Click and drag. Now this one is a little strange because you think, okay, I'm going to go to the right because that's the direction I'm going. And this one, if I go to the right, you see I get this weird little, little curly Q. When I finish it up, I'm going to pull this back out like this. I'm setting this side of my curve. I'm going to pull it back out just like that. This half circle shape, it's a piece of cake. It's 2 corner points and 1 curve point. And look at how long this line is. That's because it's the length of the curve. The curve is going from here all the way around to here. So you want to pull it all the way out. Watch this. We're going to start here, single click, come up here, click and drag the direction you're going. Now watch that curve. I'm trying to get it to line up. I'm dragging. It lines up as soon as I get all the way out to the very end of my curve where I want it to end, which is way over here. Then you come over here. Now this is a corner point, so it's a single click. And then don't forget to finish it up by coming back to where you started. Single click, pen tool gets a little circle next to it, so you know you're finishing your shape. That's an easy one. Oops, spill the color. All right, now this is the last one we're going to do in this session. You got some single clicks, you got corners at the bottom, and you got these long curve points right here. So start with a single click. Go to the middle. The middle of this line is right here. Click and drag straight up. Then you go over here and you click and drag this one down. A lot of people do this. They drag straight up. But if you're following the path, now we're going down, right? We went up and we go down, click and drag straight down. We come over to here to this point. Now we're going up. So we're going to click and drag straight up. You hold shift. It'll make it go straight up real nice for you. Come to this one, click and drag straight down. And then corner point, single click. And then back to where we started, corner point, single click. Easy peasy. That's where we're going to stop it today for part 1 of this lesson. We'll come back tomorrow and we'll attack this flame shape. Things get a little more complicated